So Richard, can you describe Sonovate's mission for us?
In simple terms, we're here to ensure people get paid on time every time, and what we mean by that is not only workers but suppliers of contingent labour ultimately into the market. Our background was understanding and solving that problem for traditional recruitment agencies, and as we've been evolving our technology and our capabilities, it's really to be able to make sure that that mission and that capability is across the whole ecosystem to lots of different technology, lots of different suppliers into the supply of contingent labour.
Sonovate talks a lot about the flexible future of working. What's your view on that?
From our perspective, we knew and we could see in the data that the trend for more and more of businesses' workforces to be made up of non-full-time employees. I mean, I wish there was one title, contractors, temps, freelancers, but that was happening anyway. COVID has just accelerated that trend probably by sort of 5 to 7 years. The data as well is showing, particularly from sort of young people and how they think about work, is changing to such an extent that we think this is the future now rather than just a short-term trend. Businesses are saying that, in some areas more than 50% of their workforces are flexible. So from our perspective, it's just seeing how these models evolve, how it's hybrid, is it remote, is it international workforces as well as just being more disparate around the UK. So there's a lot changing, and we're just trying to see how that all falls through into the market and into the economy.
And how can businesses ensure that they're equipped to deal with this change in the workforce?
I think it's a really important question because, and look, we've had the same challenges. We're a relatively small business, and there'll be a lot larger businesses where not only you're trying to understand, where is our workforce? We used to think they were in these certain locations because that's where our offices are. Do we now need to recruit in that same way? Often that's not the case. How do we onboard and get people to feel that they're part of that business? And from our side, on a financing perspective, often with this more flexible workforce, you end up with different cash flow challenges. So needing to make payments to people on a weekly basis. Some of those things have become quite an impact for companies who've said that they're not set up to do that. And quite a high percentage of them have actually said they struggle to make sure that people are paid on time, which again for workers in the contingent economy can be really, really challenging, because ultimately it's their pay and they're not getting paid on time. So it's trying to understand all of those things and how they fall through.
How can these companies secure access to the finance and the funding that they need?
They can definitely get that access to that funding in a I would say a much quicker way. I mean, for example, startups, they can come to a business like Sonovate, access that today and be sort of working tomorrow. And traditionally that's not been the case with the banks. These things would tend to take often a couple of months, a meet and greet, business plans, etc. And that's really not the case now. And I think the key point there is that businesses like Sonovate, via API connectivity into things like their accounting software, we can understand that business very, very quickly. We can understand the health of them, and we can understand how we could insert our solution into their business and understand how we can affect positive change, keep ourselves healthy as a provider there, but equally give them the information they know to make good, healthy decisions for their business.
And can a recruitment firm of any size get access to this funding?
Yes. Yeah, in simple terms, yes. We started with providing our solutions to traditional startup recruitment agencies, and over the last 5 years we've become more and more focused around solving the challenges for enterprise businesses. A key thing for those guys, for example, is international growth. Often they'll work with large corporates that go international, and understanding those capabilities. And a big new area in the market is sort of digital labour markets and platforms whereby, again, the data that they've got, yet they've got a new model, is sometimes harder to fund with traditional bank providers. So again, they can get access to that. There's some great businesses that are solving challenges, and in our sector, we'd obviously say Sonovate's a good example of doing that.
Some recruitment firms may say that invoice finance puts maybe an unnecessary burden on their business. What would you say to them?
I think if the product is run well, it really doesn't put a burden. I think the facts show, why do they really use invoice finance? It's because they're placing contractors and temps. It's absolutely crucial that they've got that working capital to grow. And from our perspective, again, if you're working really integrated with those businesses, you can actually show them how healthy their business is, show them how they've got opportunity to grow. We as a lender obviously want to understand how healthy are they, how healthy are we in partnership with them to help them grow. I think some of the traditional bank products and traditional sort of factoring type products, I think people felt a bit of a burden around some of the clauses that might be in there, particularly things like personal guarantees, etc. But it's not something we do, and I don't think that is the kind of future of how people will partner with their finance providers.
As a fintech leader, how far do you think this technology will really help to tackle some of these challenges?
Hugely. I think that we're just at the start, really. I think embedded finance for us is a key thesis that we believe in. I think that ability for companies to integrate their technology via APIs, have a much wider suite of data that enables them to think and understand about their businesses. And I think fintechs are at the forefront of doing that. I think they were incredible through COVID, how they reacted to things there. And I think going forward, I think that opportunity to understand their businesses that they're partnering with, and think about those challenges where people need more flexible finance, they need things on demand. There's new business models that traditionally a bank's model and how they've thought about risk and how they've governed those things might be a business model that doesn't really exist anymore. So I think that's where fintechs need to be able to be at the forefront of helping those organisations.
How will the technology really help to simplify life for recruitment businesses?
So I think it's technology, but in our world also regulation. I think what's happening with things like open banking, open finance, open data is enabling lenders like ourselves to be able to access that data, connect that data into the other technology that those businesses are using, to be able to really give the drivers of those businesses a full understanding of their business. How healthy is their business in much more of a real-time understanding way, in some cases very, very helpful from a predictive perspective, to be able to just enable them and their changing businesses to grab hold of business opportunities that are out there, and to just make decisions with a lot more information at hand, from both financing all the way through to their sort of middle and front office parts of their business.
What does the future hold?
The future, I think, is for the recruitment agencies, is the demand is there. I think they're all saying that the market is, for some folks, better than they've ever seen it. So I think there is demand for solving the challenges of this new sort of future world of work for the businesses. I think that they have got to be able to evolve and adapt clearly, which a lot of them have done. I think historically recruiters are very, very good at that. But I think if they evolve their business model, understand the demands of customers, understanding this new future world of work and how they solve for it, then I think they've got a very, very positive outlook over the next few years.
Richard, many thanks.
Thank you.